strawberry shortcake dessert bars. I found these on Pinterest and they caught my attention because they look exactly like the strawberry shortcake ice cream bars that I used to love when I was a kid. And they seem pretty simple to put together. You're using a box cake mix and mostly ingredients that you probably already have on hand. So hopefully they taste as good as they looked. There's 3 parts to the recipe. The first part is the cake. You do need a box cake mix, a vanilla cake mix, with 2 eggs and also 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. For the frosting, you'll have 8 ounces of Cool Whip, 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1 block, it's 8 ounces of cream cheese. I am using the 1/3 less fat cream cheese because whenever I make desserts, I always use that type and I always feel that they come out fine. I like the taste, but you could use the regular cream cheese as well. And finally, a teaspoon of vanilla. And for the crumbly topping that really makes it the strawberry shortcake, you need a cup of flour, 1 stick of butter that's been softened, 3 ounces of strawberry gelatin, and 3 ounces of vanilla instant pudding. The first step is to make the cake, the base. So we have the 2 eggs in here. We're gonna add in the oil and also the cake mix and mix it together. And it's gonna go in the bottom of a 9x9 pan that has been greased. And that is gonna be baked at 350 degrees. For about 20 minutes or so, you want the edges to start to brown. I do want you to see how thick this is because this is much thicker than normal cake batter. This is almost like a dough, so it's very, very thick, but it's gonna be put on the bottom of the 9x9 pan. That was incredibly sticky and tricky to get in the bottom of this pan. I think using the aluminum foil made it a little difficult because it kept pulling up with the aluminum foil, but I did read that it'd be easier to cut it later if you use the aluminum foil at the bottom. So just be aware that it is a little tricky to get it on the bottom of the entire pan. While the cake is in the oven, remember it's baking at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna start making the crumble topping. So to start with, I'm gonna do the strawberry portion. So you need half of the stick of butter, half of the flour, which is half a cup, and then the whole 3 ounces of the strawberry gelatin. And you're just gonna use a fork, kind of mix it all together until it starts to crumble up. The fork was not cutting it, so I recommend just getting right in with your hands to kind of get it all in here and kind of crumble it. Now that the strawberry is done, I'm gonna do the same thing with the vanilla. I did the same thing with the vanilla. And you can see right here that I sprinkled all of the strawberry across a baking sheet. I lined it with parchment paper. I put all the strawberry on it, and now you're just gonna add the vanilla, kind of just mix it together, and you can even mix it once it's all on the paper as well. Now this is gonna go into the oven for about 10 minutes at 350 degrees. But halfway through, you do wanna take it out, stir it a little bit, make sure that nothing is burning, but it should stay in for about 10 minutes. And then as soon as you take it out, you are gonna put it in the freezer to stop the cooking and to cool it down. I just pulled the crumb topping out of the oven, and all I did was I lifted up the parchment paper from the hot pan, and I just put it on top of another pan that's cool. So I could put it directly into the freezer for a few minutes just to cool it down. Final step is the frosting. You're going to cream together the cream cheese, the powdered sugar, and the vanilla, and then fold in the whipped cream or the Cool Whip. You can use an electric mixer for this if you'd like. I'm just gonna do it by hand. Frosting is done, and I just took the base, the cake, out of the oven. It cooked for about 22 minutes. It is a light brown. I did test it with the cake tester, and it's done. So I'm gonna let that completely cool before I put the frosting on top, and then the last step would be to sprinkle the crumbs on top of that. I frosted the top of the bars, and there is a lot of frosting. There's even some left over, and I put on more than I probably would have just because I was trying to use it up. So I think if you did half of the frosting recipe, you would have more than enough. Currently it's a little bit thicker than I probably would have wanted it to be, and I still have some left over. The last step is to sprinkle the crumbs on top. And even looking at the crumbs, I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna have a lot of extra crumbs as well. The crumbs are on top, and you can see I still have a ton of crumbs left over. So I guess you could always just open up the boxes and use half of the box maybe. I'm not sure how well the crumbs will last. I'm gonna try to keep them in the fridge and see what happens, assuming that we like this recipe. But there is more than enough. There's actually way too much of the crumbs as well. So the frosting and the crumbs on this recipe is just too much. But I'm gonna let it set up for a while and then we'll cut into it and see how it tastes. It's been 24 hours since we made the bars. And when we first made them, a few hours later, we did do a taste test. Sean loved them, but the video was really blurry. So now we're gonna do another taste test. It's been 24 hours in the refrigerator. I did try them. Sean hasn't tried them yet. And personally, I think they're much better the next day. It's had time to have all the flavors kind of blend together nicely. The crumbs kind of mix in with the frosting a little bit, and I just really like the flavor today more than I did yesterday when I made them. We did take them to a party and they got rave reviews as well, so it seems like everybody likes them. The base of this is thick. It's kind of like a shortbread cookie. It's not soft like cake. And then you have the cream cheese frosting that's light because it has the Cool Whip mixed in. And then of course we have the crumb topping that is supposed to be like the strawberry shortcake ice cream bars. Now the one thing I really don't like about the recipe is how much extra is left over. It might be hard to tell in the camera, but this is more than half of the crumbs that are still left over. And the same thing happened with the frosting. Half of the frosting was used, the other half was not. So the proportions are really off on this recipe. I would do half the frosting and half of the crumbs if I were to do it again. But we're gonna have Sean do another taste test today and see how he feels now that it's been 24 hours. All right, so before you try it now, it's a day later. Do you wanna say anything about when you first had it, what your opinions were, what you thought?
I thought it was really good because it was sweet and it reminded me a lot of strawberry Nestle Quick, strawberry Quick.
Yep.
So that was good. So it brought me back to like my childhood, you know, like that.
All right, so now it's had 24 hours. Let's see if you like it better or if it's the same.
It's not gonna all fall off like it did yesterday, right?
No, I think it kind of got in a little bit better now. Yesterday it was really crumbly, but I think it's a little better.
It's still really good.
Do you taste any difference at all?
I don't know. I mean, I think that the base is better because it's cool, like it's chilled. So I kind of like that better than what it was yesterday. And that the filling that you've made is like thicker.
It thickened up a bit?
Yeah. But I think it is better than it was yesterday.
Yeah. I think the 24 hours really did make a big, for me it made a big difference because yesterday I liked them, but I wasn't really excited about them. But today they're much better.
I'm already making a mess.
The crumbs are falling off everywhere.
All right, ready?
Oh my goodness, the crumbs went everywhere.
I like that, it's really sweet. It does remind me of pink Nestle's Quick though.
Pink Nestle's Quick?
Yeah, you know the pink one? Strawberry Quick?
Yep. Fiona's coming running. So, you like it? You like the crumb topping?
I wish this wasn't so messy, but it is good.
Try just the crumbs alone without the cake and see if you like the crumbs.
This isn't gonna go well.
Do you like the crumbs?
Yeah,
Good, because we have a massive bag left over.
it is a lot. It's really strawberry-ish. You can smell it.
Yeah. Maybe I should film you like this from now on. Go
Why?
ahead. Take a bite. What? I said a bite, not stuff the whole thing in.